The intent of the night is to provide information and increase awareness. This issue is not just about 6 farms and some residential properties outside of New Hamburg and Baden. This is going to affect all of the township. This is going to affect you. Our group has worked hard to this point in time and will continue to do so, but we will need your support to preserve our way of life here in Wilmot. I would like to take a quick moment and just introduce our Fight for Farmland Steering Committee. If you guys want to stand up awkwardly or wave your hand. We have Alfred and Heidi. Steve, I think I saw him at the back. Kevin, Mark, Adam and Ario, who I don't think are here this evening. Stuart, Martin and Jacqueline, Jen, and myself, Stephanie. To kick things off tonight, we have some words from the OFA Vice President, Mark Reeser. We would like to thank OFA for helping make this evening happen through the generous support of their time and resources, as well as the Waterloo Federation of Agriculture. None of these things are free, and so we are thankful for that support. We would also just like to call out that if anyone in the audience would like to contribute, there are donation buckets over by the water there, as well as at the exit. You can also get a sign, if you don't have one yet, when you're leaving this evening. Mark, I will turn it over to you.
Thank you, Stephanie. Just one correction. I'm Vice President of the Waterloo Federation of Agriculture. But thank you for the compliment. It's so nice to be here with you tonight. I appreciate listening to the conversation. I've been to many meetings in urban parts of Waterloo, and they tend to be silent. It's wonderful to be in a community in mostly rural Wilmot where people don't stop talking. That's community, and community is important, and that's why we're here tonight. The proposed land acquisition is a threat to the community as we know it. I would like to paraphrase some of the things that Stephanie said. We're here tonight to answer 3 questions. What's going on in Wilmot? How does it affect me? And finally, what can I do to show my concern? So, an attempt to answer those 3 questions. And I'll stop now. And Alfred? Again, Alfred is the chair of the Committee of Landowners.
Thank you, Mark, and thank you all for being here this evening. I'm glad the weather cooperated and rained a little before, and our air conditioning is working, so it certainly has helped. I was concerned when we were here the other day; it was a little warm, but anyway, it is what it is, and we're 15 weeks in now, since this land grab by the region of Waterloo started, throwing our farming community into a tailspin. Now, a lot has happened in the last 15 weeks, and we just want to bring you up to speed on what has happened, what we know at this point in time, and kind of point you in the right direction. Information changes daily in our information that we as a group obtain. We update our website, so if you haven't checked that out recently, please do so. fightforfarmland.com. We try to make sure that's up to date all the time and have information that's a little more is current. It's clear, as we said before, or as Steph and Mark said, it's not just about the farmers and residential property owners on the site threatened for expropriation, but rather it's about how our lives in Wilmot and your lives in Wilmot will change should this expropriation take place. So please start with the dialogue with your friends and neighbors to ensure that they are aware of what may happen. Now, I feel like I'm preaching to the converted here. I think I've seen a lot of people here a number of times, and you probably know what I'm about to say and what has happened, and you're reading the newspaper and picking up what's on social media and what information is available. The key here is awareness, and just to make sure that everyone you know is and impacted in this community, make them aware as well, and just to bring the activity level or the information awareness level up. So our Fight for Farmland group consists of directly impacted residential property owners and farmers whose lands are threatened for expropriation, as well as concerned citizens of Wilmot Township. Our group has been struggling to get answers from all levels of government, be it provincial, federal, regional, as well as our local municipality. It seems that all politicians are bound by either the Municipal Act or non-disclosure agreements. So official information has not been forthcoming. The information we have has been based on our investigations, our experience and knowledge, as well as unofficial documents and discussions we've had with people that have retired from various planning programs or with the region and other townships. So we feel like we're plugged in. We've been asking for technical data from the region for some time, and I believe with our persistence, this may be forthcoming soon. And as we got communications earlier this week from the planning department, an invitation to attend a session. So we hope to have information for you soon, and a little bit of, I think that what we mean by technical data is information why this land is being expropriated or possibly expropriated. We know there are certain things that have been told to us initially. The land is flat, it has hydro corridor running into it, and the 7 and 8 is very close by. Three parts of it, of the equation, but I'm sure there's more. So looking back, this process began some time ago. We've had information that it's probably prior to 21, 22. However, in late 23, the regional planning staff requested $5 million for land assembly studies. We got that from information in their reports. However, due to budget constraints, regional council canceled the project, citing the region already has over 1,500 acres of potential employment lands available near the 401 and the airport. This land assembly had an early start. In January of this year, a few farmers were approached by a Kitchener development company called Vive Developments with an offer to purchase their land. They all refused, and little was thought about this until we started to connect the dots later. In early March, residential property owners and farmers were approached by a consulting company called CanAcre, who were hired by the region of Waterloo to assemble this land site. They approached each property owner with unsigned documents to buy their land. They were given 10 days to respond, and none accepted their offer. And then the phone calls began, and our group formed. Key questions that you should ask yourselves are, where did the region find millions of dollars to finance the CanAcre offers, when in December of 23, regional councillors voted against a $5 million staff recommendation to start land bank activity? More troubling was, how did Vive Developments know about the mega project site in advance of everyone else with their offers in January? Our Fight for Farmland group formed in March after a meeting with CanAcre at the farm of Stuart Snyder, followed by a trip to our township offices with a meeting with the CAO and the planning director. We had many questions and concerns, and were able to make very brief presentations to regional council as well as township council the following week. Our group formed a steering team and recruited other key and talented community partners. To create awareness, we built a website, organized rallies, branded our activity to ensure accurate information, and built an aggressive lawn sign program. At this point, last count, we have just about 3,000 lawn signs scattered throughout the region. Obviously a lot in our township here, but we're making inroads into Kitchener as well. Thanks to Kevin and his group that manage that on Saturdays. We connected with all provincial opposition parties and obtained comments from the Premier that unwilling hosts wouldn't be forced into any land assembly. And our awareness program continues with rallies, demonstrations, and press conferences, all geared to raising awareness for our community. And I would like to thank all those attended and delegated at last night's regional council meeting, as well as those that protested in the rain outside. I guess they got soaked, but anyway, I heard some great stories about even the police were giving thumbs up as they drove by. Okay, this map shows the size and location of the regions that the region is considering for the megasite. There are 5 large farm acreages, as well as 6 residential properties ranging from 25 acres to 1 acre. It goes from Wilmot Center Road to Nafsinger Road, and actually there's a property on the other side of Nafsinger that people forget about. It's usually what's in the newspaper or whatever. So from 7 and 8 to Bleems Road, Wilmot Center Road to just west of the of Nafsinger Road. So it's a fairly large group, 770 acres, and it's huge by comparison, as you see, and with New Hamburg and Baden outlined the way it is. It also will affect farming and residential properties adjacent to this, and we've already affected with other sites. We know all these farms that are along Bleems Road are going to be affected, but even more concerning, if you were a resident here in Wilmot Center, you're not going to be able to maintain your property, but you're going to have this site in your backyard. So our regional official plans, for you that don't know, is reviewed every 5 years, and it's meant for 30 years in planning for 30 years. The last version was approved in August of 22 after 4 years of consultation and over 100 public meetings. So it's not a light process to take into. I think, Kevin, you're part of that, and make delegations on behalf of the environment and such. So it's a significant process, so it shouldn't be taken lightly. What the regional official plan is, the ROP, provides a distinction between what is rural and agricultural lands and what is considered urban and industrial lands. This distinction has been called our countryside line and has been in place for decades. It protects farmland and natural areas, as well as focuses employment lands where intensification aims at minimizing farmland loss. It also prevents land speculation, which we see in other parts of Ontario. Just when you're approaching Toronto, you'll see a lot of land that's either not developed or sitting not farmed. Now, there's a number of definitions in our ROP. For those that want to check this out, Chapter 6 of the ROP states that prime agricultural land is to be protected. Mark will highlight this in his presentations in a bit. Now, this map outlines what prime agricultural land is in this area. The yellow area is considered prime agricultural land. The green is even more protected. That is our Waterloo Moraine, where all the water for the region is drawn from. Basically an underground river that is the region pulls water out. We're the largest municipality region in the country, if not the world, that draws their water solely from the ground. Most other larger municipalities have a lake nearby that are drawn from that. They draw their water and obviously drop their sewage into it after treating, of course. This map is a bit confusing, but I said I'll still talk to it. It is what are considered employment lands. So the blue areas on this map are considered employment lands where it's been designated for jobs and such. The yellow areas are urban sites, And obviously the cities of Kitchener, Waterloo, and Cambridge are highlighted in yellow. That's where people live for the most part, and take advantage of the employment lands to the east. And you see with this as well that the infrastructure, the rail infrastructure, the roadway infrastructure is all highlighted here. The main section down the middle also includes the LRT, which is part and parcel of how this city has been put together and how we had intended to keep employment land separate from the agricultural and the Waterloo moraine. Now, expropriation, you've heard the word many times. To be clear, at this point, none of the farmers and residential property owners have been issued expropriation notices. Expropriation is supposed to be for public advantage, such as roadways, hydro corridors, and hospitals, things that everyone touches. Normally, it's not intended to be a method to seize land for private enterprise. Once this process, however, begins, little can be done to stop it. With the conversation we had early with legal support, they said it's usually a 98% chance once expropriation starts, it won't stop. As the regional official plan has not been followed in this instance, we are not aware of studies that deal with the effects on this industrial site. We don't know what will happen with our drinking water, or water aquifer integrity, sewage treatment capacity, and costs of upgrades, roadway and rail planning, including costs, impact on agriculture, effects on the environment, and the impact on Wilmot Township and our community's social fabric. So you ask, why has the process not been followed? The regional official plan process involves developing criteria for an appropriate industrial site, and the process defined alternate sites. Key here is that the public needs to be informed and engaged. Now, much of my career was in human resources with large food companies. I'll say it, Schneider's and Maple Leaf, where I spent many years in communications and change management. What I learned most was that people don't mind change as long as they understand what's happening, but they resist being changed. And that's what's occurring right now. We're being changed. Our challenge to the region is to open the lines of communication with this community and get at least the basis of understanding of what their plans are. And we hope to make that happen in the next days. Now, I'd like to turn things over at this point to Mark Reeser, who will discuss the effects on agriculture.
So hello again. A few words about agriculture. We live in a special place here in southwestern Ontario. We have a unique climate tempered by 3 Great Lakes. We have wonderful soils laid down 10,000 years ago by a glacier. We have great farmers and an environment that can grow a longer list of fruits, vegetables, and grains than anywhere else in North America, with the exception of California, which has to rely on water from somewhere else. We indeed live in a special place. Yet only 5% of Ontario's land mass is suitable for agriculture. Only 5%. It's deceiving because when we drive outside here in Waterloo region, all we see is farmland. But think of all the rest of the province, the other 95%, which will never be farmland. Yet we are losing 319 acres of farmland every single day. This place where we live right here, and this 770 acres, is prime farmland as designated under Waterloo's official plan. It's the best of the best. If it isn't preserved, what should be preserved? Ontario is not even self-sufficient in terms of food production. We import $10 billion more food than we export. Is it not important for a place like Ontario to be self-sufficient in food? Is it not important to preserve farmland which feeds us all? I would suggest that this land acquisition will affect not only the farmers that you may see here tonight, it will affect agriculture in all of the surrounding area. It will change our community. It will make farming less viable. If you look at the picture here, it shows a piece of farm machinery moving down the road with cars beside it, passing on the left. If there is a large industrial development on this 770 acres, it may provide jobs for a significant number of people, which would include probably thousands of cars to arrive at their destination and go home again. And if you can imagine somewhere between 1,000 and 5,000 cars a day traveling in 4 different directions from this site, and think of what that will mean for you where you live. It will make it difficult to farm, and it will change the character of our community. And I think I'll stop there, Alfred, and call on you again.
Thank you, Mark. As mentioned earlier, this is not just about farmers and residential properties on the site threatened for expropriation, but rather it's about how your lives in Wilmot will change should this expropriation take place. The things that should be considered: growth, massive growth, and it really all comes down to what is being planned for this site. We still don't know. But Wilmot has 22,000 residents, and we can foresee if this large addition goes into place, we'll have a population that'll grow by many thousands of people. Some say even tens of thousands of people. So New Hamburg, Baden, or as we like to call it, New Badenburg, will grow quickly the size of Woodstock. I wasn't going to say that, but it was just going to be one of those things that came up. New Badenburg. You heard it here first. A possible illegal remedy is that this would be a violation of the Regional Official Plan and the Provincial Planning Act. And our group is pursuing this through Freedom of Information requests, and hopefully we can get to the bottom of that and see if this could eventually stop this process. As mentioned, the Omega site is immediately adjacent to the Waterloo Moraine, where virtually all the region's water is drawn from. And depending on what industry or service populates this site, it could adversely affect our water quality and availability and safety. There's a big difference if this land is being used for a chemical plant or a hospital. Wilmot Township citizens should be concerned, but so should all residents of the region of Waterloo. The Wilmot sewage treatment plant is approaching capacity with the already approved building permits that are in this cycle. And if expansion is even possible, it would be very expensive. Guess who's going to be paying for it? Our sewage treatment plant is based on the assimilative capacity of the Nith River watershed. In other words, there's only so much capacity before our main local river is overwhelmed and untreated water enters the river. An option would be to take the sewage via pipeline to Kitchener Sewage Treatment Plant, as the Grand River has a greater assimilative capacity. That would take time, land expropriation, and a lot of money. There will be potentially thousands of more vehicles on the local roadways, and if you thought the 7 and 8 was busy, stay tuned. I still hate making that left-hand turn down Navsinger. Bleams, Navsinger, Wilmot Center roads, And to name a few, will have to be widened, and with the volume of traffic, farming will become dangerous, as Mark noted, and if not impossible. Basically neuters the farming operation around this area. Also, with rail transportation, a large site this size requires rail infrastructure. And because of the heavy materials usually they carry around this site. And we've been talking that this could be an EV site. Well, the last thing that you do is create or build batteries and then ship them to an assembly area. You'll probably see both in this location. We don't know that yet. But if the plan is to connect to the CN rail line that goes through Baden, north of the 7-8, or south to the CP line, all that is going to take a huge amount of effort, money. We have to build a bridge over the 7-8, expropriation of lands down to the south. Again, both costly and time-consuming. Now, a lot of people have been asking what other sites are available. We kind of pointed out in the one map that showed where the employment lands are. And we're aware that the township or the region has we have 1,500 acres that are available. A large part is up near the airport. We also have marginal lands that have been used for gravel extraction and sand extraction down near Ayr. And again, no effect on the agricultural part. So who initiated this? Here's where a lot of finger pointing goes on. Our elected officials should be more transparent and accountable for their actions and decisions. This is a fundamental principle that underpins the public's trust in government. I think we have concerns recently in trusting the provincial government. With the Greenbelt scandal, highways that are never built, how long has it been since we heard about Guelph? And legislation that's pushed through limiting planning authority, just to mention a few. Of course, the province says it's not them. The region says it's doing the work of the province. And Wilmot Council says it needs to pressure the region. The regional chair and council won't talk to us. I guess that was last night too. They were stopped from speaking further. So to say the least, we're very frustrated. That's likely their plan. Our group has delegated to the regional council 4 times now, met with Wilmot Township Council and staff numerous times, met with MPP Mike Harris Jr. at Queen's Park, and our group even protested at his constituency office a few weeks ago. Leaders of all provincial opposition political parties and farming interest groups have lent their support, yet it seems that the authorities at Queen's Park in the region of Waterloo want it their way. So, Premier Ford said in a press conference in April, "We're just asking regions around the province to assemble land, but there has to be a willing host. If they're not willing, then just move on." That's what it comes down to. So I challenge Wilmot Council that represents our township residents, and they have neither declared that Wilmot is in favor or against this mega site. A lot of information still going, and we know that there's a lot of activity in this area, and we again thank councillors Harv and Chris in the back of the room who made the first bold step to open the dialogue with council. Our role, as I said earlier, is to create awareness, and now it's up to all of us to determine what Wilmot should look like. And for our closing remarks, I'll turn this over to Steph.
I am not as tall as everybody else. There we go. Thank you, both Alfred and Mark, for your contributions tonight, and for everyone, again, for coming to listen and learn about this. I think it is so important, there's a lot of information we received tonight, and I do hope and encourage everyone to pull up the presentation on the website or on your phones to look at it again and really regurgitate it and think about how it impacts you. The regional official plan is done because it's supposed to be planned and thoughtful development. We need to be thinking on a greater scale of how development happens. No one in our group is against development. We just want it to be planned and thoughtful. And yet, as we heard, there was this plan done, and then all of a sudden this is hoisted upon us that, now we also are going to add this. And that is just inappropriate. And a lot of the information we heard tonight, I hope it encourages you to come alongside us and declare that Wilmot is not a willing host. Doug Ford said it. He said there has to be a willing host, and we have to get this message from our steering committee, but from each of you in the audience tonight as well, to council, to regional council, to let them know we are not a willing host. Alfred said it, that Chris and Harv stepped up and at that press conference mentioned they are elected by the residents of Wilmot Township. Our council is there to represent us. I have questions. Has the residents of Wilmot Township been asked about this? Has there been any kind of public consultation? That is one of the biggest frustrating parts of this process, is just the lack of communication. No one knows, no one understands, and we are just constantly met with lack of information and lack of communication. And so we're appreciative that they have called for some of that transparency, but I think we have to keep asking what is going on and why are the people of this township not being consulted about these plans. So one of the things that you can get as you leave, or there's cards, I think you might have got them on your way in or when you leave, but on those cards are contact information of our local council. On our website, there's also information to reach out to the regional council, but your voice matters. It actually does. They need to hear from each individual that is willing to speak up and ask, why have we not been consulted? What is going on? Why are we not hearing more about this? I just want to really quickly point out some of our supporters that we want to say thank you to. So up on the screen here are different organizations that have stood with us to say they are not in favor of this. They are helping us in the ways that they are able to ask for more transparency and communication, and to help encourage just a better process of what's going on. If you haven't already, from our website, there is a petition that can be signed. I did check this morning. I think we're actually up to 37,200 signatures. And it's, some people will say a petition doesn't matter, but it does show sort of the vast interest in something like this. So I would encourage you that if you haven't already, please access this from our website and add your name to it. So I just really want to reiterate that this message of Wilmot being an unwilling host is the message that we have to keep getting across to people who don't understand what's going on, be it your neighbors or other township residents, to our council, to our regional council, even to the provincial government. It matters, right? I think that Doug Ford saying in that April press conference that there has to be a willing host is a key piece of this, and we just have to keep showing that we are not a willing host. So here's this postcard. Again, there's contact information on it, and on the other side of it, if you grab one when you leave, there's also a way to sign up for our newsletters if you want to stay up to date with what we're doing. We do send something out weekly to keep everyone in the loop. And it also has, you can access the website where we post other news articles and things that would be great resources to understand what is going on.